transportation or the movement of goods and people from one place to another facilitates tourism. Why? Because the individuals and the people can travel to their favorite tourism destinations or tourism spots. And other than that, it would stimulate the commencement and the expansion of business and investment opportunities in order for the people to earn income, revenues, and profits. And last but not the least, transportation also stimulates or fosters job opportunities or job growth, which may either be in the construction of the necessary infrastructures or the needed manpower in the operation of these public utility vehicles. So with all of these things in mind, transportation substantially contributes to the economic growth, thereby making it the lifeblood of the economy and society, and making the roads, the railroads, the seaports, and the airports as the arteries of this transportation circulatory system. Now let's define transportation. Previous slide. Yes. Transportation is simply defined as the movement of people and goods from one place to another. And it could be via land, air, or seas. On the other hand, transport planning is the process of defining future policies, goals, and investments to rationally identify and recommend infrastructure facilities, career services, and operational systems to serve the demand for the movement of goods and people from one place to another. So if our aim is really to have an efficient kind of transportation system, then we must have a proper and adequate transport planning. And one of the good examples of this transport planning is the local public transport route plan under the modernization program of the government, which I will be discussing later on. So, since it is the goal of the government to really elevate and upgrade our current public land transportation, two modernization programs came into place. So, next slide now. So, we have the modernization programs in Davao region. We have two. First is the modernization program that is applicable only for routes within Davao City. And that is the Davao Public Transport Modernization Project, or formerly known as the High Priority Bus System. So this program is administered and supervised by another program, and another group of individuals, but still under the Department of Transportation and in collaboration with the city government of Davao, because they are the main proponents of this program. How about those routes outside of Davao City? So the applicable modernization program for that is the Public Transport Modernization Program, or the PTMP, or previously known as the PUVMP, or the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. So this program is under the LTFRB and the Department of Transportation. So just an overview of the Davao Public Transport Modernization Project. As mentioned earlier, this project is being handled by a separate group of individuals, but I will be giving an overview of the project. So this project, the estimated cost is at 73.9 billion, and a loan signing agreement has been made last year. So we already have a loan with the ADB, or the Asian Development Bank. And the estimated project affected persons composing of operators of PUJs, the drivers, the conductors, and the allied workers, estimated at 24,000 individuals. And these 24,000 individuals will receive financial and non-financial assistance through the Social Development Program, or aspect of the program. And this is by virtue of Resolution number 02752-21 of the City Government of Davao, or enacting an ordinance providing for the guidelines on the social development programs for the public vehicle modernization projects of Davao City. and Ordinance number 0736-21 of the City Government of Davao, or an ordinance providing for the guidelines on the social development programs for the public utility vehicle modernization projects of Davao City. So this program will feature 4 routes, namely the Metro Davao, the Davao Inter, the Davao Feeder, and the Davao Local. So the Metro Davao will provide services that will connect all major commercial centers of Davao City. And it will be composed of an estimated 386 Metro Davao buses. So in this route, it is projected na 386 buses na mag-operate on this route. We also have the Davao Feeder. And this route is composed of 9 routes that will link smaller centers and dispersed populations. So for this, duha ni sila ka route, the Davao Inter and Davao Feeder, ang mag-operate ani is 531 buses. Third route is the Davao Inter, and it will be consist of 8 routes that will connect inner urban areas to the commercial business district of Davao City. So again, on this on these 2 routes, ang buses na mag-operate kay 531. And on the last route, or this will be the route that will link outer rural areas with integrated terminals, ang proposed na mag-operate on this route is 188 buses. Other than that, the project will also feature 3 terminals, and it will be located sa Bunawan, Kalinan, and Turin. And then po siya ay 5 depots, and ang proposal is that it will be located sa Buhangin, Saksak, Santo Niño, Kalinan, and Turin. So diri ipang park or diri ipang garahe ang mga buses na mag-operate sa DPTMP or the Davao Public Transport Modernization Project. And lastly, na po yung proposal for a driving school that will be located in the future sa Kalinan. So those are just some of the facts and the details with regards to the implementation of the DPTMP. Now let's proceed to the modernization project that is applicable for routes outside of Davao City. We have the Public Transport Modernization Program, or the PTMP. So the PTMP has 10 components, namely the regulatory reform, financing, industry consolidation, initial implementation, social support mechanism, communication, vehicle useful life, fleet modernization, route rationalization, and the local public transport route plan. But we will only be discussing the major components of this program, which are the following: the industry consolidation, or the formation of transport service entities, or TSEs, which could either be a cooperative or a corporation; the LPTRP, or the Local Public Transport Route Plan; and the RRP, or the Route Rationalization Plan, which pertains to the route plans that will be drafted and formulated by our local government units. Next is the financing, or the loan programs for the operators who wish to acquire modernized units. Next is the fleet modernization, or the actual modernization of our traditional public utility vehicles to modernized units. And last but not the least, regulatory reform, or those policies, issuances, and guidelines issued by the Department of Transportation and other agencies with regards to the implementation of the modernization project of the government. So first, let us discuss regulatory reform. So on 2017, the Department of Transportation issued Department Order number 2017-011, or the Omnibus Guidelines on the planning and identification of public road transportation services and franchise issuance. So this is considered as the basis of the then PTMP. Before, it was called the PUVMP, or the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. But with the new issuance of the Department of Transportation, which is Department Order 2023-022, the term is now PTMP, or Public Transport Modernization Project. So the Department Order number 2017-011 laid down the foundation for the implementation of this program. And it was later on repealed and amended by the Department Order number 2023-022, which became effective last year. Now, the term PUVMP has been changed to PTMP because according to the Department Order, the new Department Order, modernization is not only limited to the vehicles. There must also be modernization with regards to the public transportation as a whole, in general, including the needed mindset and the discipline on the people. So that's why from PUVMP, last year naging PTMP na siya, in order to include modernization in all aspects sa pag-operate sa ato public land transportation. Next component, we have the industry consolidation, or the formation of transport service entities, which could either be a cooperative or a corporation. So if you can remember, no, I think, hot topic na siya sa news last April and last December. If you can remember, the deadline of industry consolidation last December 30, 2023. But there was a pronouncement from the President that the deadline for this industry consolidation will be extended sa April 30, 2024. So as of now, wala na extension na i-pronounce from the Department of Transportation and our President. So the deadline for the industry consolidation became final last April 30, 2024. So under this component, ato ang mga individual operators are mandated to form a single juridical entity, which could either be a cooperative or corporation, or they may join an existing cooperative or corporation. So before the modernization program, in a single route, daghan kaayo og operators. But under the modernization program of the government, mag-isa na lang sila. They could form a cooperative or a corporation. And this, I believe, is advantageous for better control and management, and also for better pooling of resources if ever mag-modernize na sila o mga units from their old units to modernized units. So, bawal siya ang industry consolidation rate or percentage sa Region 11. And we are very fortunate because taas na ang industry consolidation rate, meaning taas na ang percentage and rate sa mga operators na nag-comply sa ato ang modernization project. And this just means that they are very supportive and they are cooperative with the programs of the government in modernizing our public utility vehicles. So as to the routes, for our public utility bus, 51 out of 53 routes ang naanay consolidated entity, meaning naanay cooperative or corporation na na-consolidate sa mga routes. For PUJs, out of 62 routes, 52 na ang naay consolidated entities or ang mga naay na participate sa industry consolidation. And for the UVEs, ato mga UV Express service, ato mga vans, all of the routes na ay mga consolidated entity. So for the routes, naatay 91% overall rating sa industry consolidation. Now let's proceed to the units. For the bus, out of 846 units, 823 ang nagsulod or nag-form of cooperative or corporation. For our jeeps, public utility jeepneys, out of the 733 units, 629 ang nag-join or nag-form of kaugalingon nilang cooperative or corporation. And for our UVE, out of 592 units, 549 ang nag-consolidate, with an overall rating as to units of 92%, and this is as of April 30, 2024. So for Region 11, we have 29 transport cooperatives and 4 transport corporations. A total of 33 transport service entities formed under PTMP consolidation. So, I would just like to inform also na walay labot ani ang Davao City. It is because, as gimension ako kanina, it is under a separate modernization program but still complementary with the PTMP, which is the DPTMP or the Davao Public Transport Modernization Program. Next component is the local public transport route plan. As mentioned kanina, in order for us to have an efficient and systematic mode of public land transportation, we must have a proper and adequate transport planning. And this is the reason why another component of the PTMP is the LPTRP, or the Local Public Transport Route Plan. Now, the LPTRP is defined as a plan detailing the route network, identified mode of service that shall operate on the routes, and the required number of units per mode for delivering public land transport services. It also includes the frequency of dispatch or headway, location of stops, and other transport facilities, among others. So basically, this is a plan formulated by our local government units, detailing and identifying the routes within the respective areas of jurisdiction, the type or the modes of public land transportation that will operate on the said routes, including the number of units na mag-operate sa mga ruta para efficient, organized, and hapsay ang pagdagat sa tuwang mga public utility vehicles. And these plans are being formulated and drafted by our local government units, since they are the ones who are very familiar with the respective areas of jurisdiction. So they are more familiar with the terrain, kung asa ang banda sa ilang mga areas ang daghang pasahero. So mauna sila ang mag-formulate sa mga route plans nila, but si LTFRB ang mag-approve. So this pertains to the route plans to be made by cities, municipalities, and provinces. Kaysa lahi na kung naanay mga inter-provincial routes, inter-regional routes, lahi na po na mag-evaluate and mag-approve niya. So next, we have the Route Rationalization Plan, or the routes covering inter-provincial and inter-regional routes, or the IRIP routes. So as mentioned kanina, when you talk about routes within cities, routes within municipalities, and provinces, ang mag-timodulana is the LGUs, and to be approved by the LTFRB and the DOTR. Now, what happens to those routes na traverse na from one province to another? For example, from Davao del Norte, mutabok o Davao de Oro. Or routes from Region 11 to Region 12. So, ang mag-identify ani is the Department of Transportation. So, the identification of public transport supply gaps and planning of complex route networks shall be the responsibility of the DOTR or the Department of Transportation. And they shall be specifically in charge of the following: routes between highly urbanized cities such as Manila, Cebu, and Cagayan de Oro City, inter-provincial routes, or those routes na mag-traverse from one province to another, inter-regional routes, for routes na mag-traverse from one region to another, and interzonal routes in Metro Manila Urban Transportation Integration Study, Updated and Capacity Enhancement Project, or the MUSEM area. So, muna siya ang routes located sa Metro Manila and the neighboring regions and provinces there. So just a status sa ato ang LPTRP formulation sa Region 11. Actually, ang Region 11 ang only region sa tibuok Philippines na 100% na ang LPTRP submission. Meaning, all of the LGUs here in Region 11 except Davao City, kay under man siya sa separate modernization program, kay nakasubmit na o at least first draft sa ilang local public transport route plan. So we are also very thankful to our local government units here in the Davao region kay very cooperative po sila with regards sa local public transport route plan. Kailangan lang i-follow up and i-monitor ilang mga performance, but still, they first comply at least sa first draft sa ilang mga local public transport route plan. So, for the breakdown of the LPTRP formulations sa mga LGUs here in the Davao region, sa Davao del Norte, all 12 LGUs have submitted at least their first draft of the LPTRP, and out of the 12 LPTRPs, 6 na ang na-approve. And out of 6 na na-approve, 5 na ang natagaan or na-adopt sa ilang local sanggunian resolution or ordinance. For Davao Oriental, all of the 12 LGUs have already submitted at least their first draft of the LPTRPs, and out of the 12 LPTRPs sa Davao Oriental, 4 na ang na-approve and 2 na ang na-adopt by virtue of their respective local sanggunian ordinance and local sanggunian resolution. For Davao de Oro, again, 12 po ng mga LGUs na nakatira, and all of them submitted at least their first draft of the LPTRPs, and out of the 12, 7 na ang na-approve and 4 na ang na-adopt by virtue of the local sanggunian ordinance or resolution. For Davao del Sur, out of the 11 LGUs na nakasubmit na sa LPTRPs nila, 5 na ang na-approve and 3 na po ang na-adopt na sa ilang mga respective local sanggunian. And last but not the least, sa Davao Occidental, 6 LGUs na nakasubmit na sa ilang mga LPTRPs, and wala pa tayo na-approve dito na LPTRPs. Hopefully, in the coming months and years, na tayo ma-approve ng mga LPTRPs. And 100% na po na ato ang approval sa kanang LGUs sa ilang mga route plans. So this is also the reason why the PTMP team is also very busy in going to the different LGUs here in our region to give them guidance and supervision as to the drafting and the formulation of the respective local public transport route plans. Okay, next component, we have the financing. So the government has this financing program for those cooperatives and corporations nato na gusto mag-acquire or modernize units, or those who would want to upgrade their traditional public utility vehicles to a modernized one. So, financial institution is a collective term referring to both government financing institution or the GFIs and private financial institutions or the PFIs, providing financing and or credit lines to transport service entities or juridical entities in the acquisitions of modern PUVs and other financial requirements. So for the government financial institutions, we have 2 banks. Ang Land Bank of the Philippines, na sila SPEED program, or the Special Program for Environment-Friendly and Efficiently Driven GPS program. And also the Development Bank of the Philippines, or the DBP, nasa ay Pasada program, which is the program assistance to support alternative driving approaches program, or the Pasada program. So ato ang mga cooperatives and corporations may acquire their modernized units through loans with our government financial institutions, but they are also not precluded to avail of the loan programs sa atuang mga private financial institutions, which could either be a private banks, composing of universal, commercial, and rural banks, or cooperative banks such as credit, multipurpose, and financial service cooperative banks. Or not, pwede sa in-house financing. Kung unsa sila na supplier or vehicle manufacturer na gusto nila tugulan kung asa sila mag-acquire ng mga units. So pwede sila dito mag-acquire no modernized units through the loan programs of these banks. And other than that, naapoy equity subsidy na ihatag ang government for those who would avail of the loan programs. So we have the equity subsidy na different if dito ka magkuha or dito ka mag-loan sa government financial institutions, which is the Land Bank of the Philippines and the DBP, and different sa equity subsidy or amount if dito ka magkuha og loan sa private banks or the private financial institutions. For the GFIs, the LBP and the DBP, for class 1, ang equity subsidy is at 210,000 per unit. And then for class 2, 3, and 4 na modernized units, the equity subsidy is at 280,000 per unit. And if private banks ka mag-loan for the acquisition of these modernized units, mas dako ang equity subsidy kay mas taas man sa payment terms sa mga private financial institutions natin. So for class 1, the equity subsidy is at 210,000 pesos per unit. For class 2, 3, and 4, 360,000 pesos per unit. For the modern minibus, 400,000 pesos per unit. And for our modern public utility bus, 600,000 pesos per unit. So muli ang mga equity subsidies na pwede ma-avail sa atong mga corporations and cooperatives if they would want to modernize their units. Another advantage if mag-loan ka through our GFIs or government financial institutions, kaya sila ay 5-6-7 scheme, meaning 5% equity, 6% interest per annum, which is lower than the private financial institutions, and 7 years to pay. So na sila ay 5-6-7 scheme na pwede i-avail if they would want to avail of the loan programs with the government financial institutions. So next, let's proceed to the fleet modernization component of the PTMP or the actual modernization of our traditional public utility vehicles. So as of now, naatay class 1, class 2, and class 3. For the class 1, it has an average vehicle capacity of 11 passengers and it features parallel seating. So side-facing ang mga bangko sa sulod sa class 1 modernized unit. For the class 2, it has an average vehicle capacity of 22 passengers and it features parallel seating, meaning side-facing gihapon ang seats sa sulod sa vehicle, but it has a provision for standing compared sa class 1 na walay standing, hindi pwede mag-accommodate ng mga standing passengers. And then for class 3, we have an average vehicle capacity of 22 gihapon, but it features front-facing seats. So compared to class 1 and class 2, ang class 3 is front-facing na ang mga likuranan. And it is ideal for long drives. And this class 1, class 2, and class 3 are in accordance with the Philippine national standards. So lahat ay national standard na gina-follow before ni sila ma-accredit sa Department of Transportation. And just an added information, na mag-claims from the transport groups na the modernization project has eradicated the traditional design of our jeeps. Diba? Ang tanaw mo na to is mura na siya bus. But actually, part sa Department Order number 2023-023 na encourage ang pag-emulate gihapon sa traditional design sa itong mga jeeps. But modernized na, meaning aircon, na itong mga safety features na required for the modernized unit. So pwede na siya. So it would depend kung naatay vehicle manufacturer or supplier na atong design na mapa-accredit sa Department of Transportation. And it would also depend upon our transport service entity kung unsa po na design nila gusto na modernized unit. So next. So just a clear picture of our class 2 and 3. So if you can see sa picture, sa right side is ang class 2, atong side facing ang seats. Mo ni siya ang class 1 and class 2. Pero sa class 2, wala sa class 1 walay provision. No. So again, as discussed na ko kanina, sa class 1, walay provision for standing compared sa class 2. So mali siya ang class 2, and then mali siya ang class 3, meaning front-facing seats, and very ideal for long drives. So in the future, kung full na dyan atong implementation sa modernization project, ato ang mga traditional field cabs will be replaced by modernized PUJ Class 1. Our traditional PUJs will be replaced by the modernized PUJ Class 2 and Class 3. And ato ang mga traditional na UV Express na itong mga vans na ito na ato ang ginasakyan karon sa mga long drives is ma-replace na siya by modernized UVE Class 3. So, kanang makita ninyo ng mga modernized na nag-operate karon, wala na siya o bus or minibus tanawon, but in truth and in fact, based on the Philippine National Standard, based on the latest issuances, it is considered as a modernized PUJ and a modernized UVE.
So, mo jud mga driver ana magsakay kun langay kay ikaw sa kay abrihan pa nimo.
So, muli ang status sa ato ang modernization project in Region 11. As of now, we already have 86 modernized units operating here in the Davao region. And tanan in modernized units kay nag-operate sa province of Davao del Sur kay maupay nakapa-modernize. But we are hoping in the coming weeks and months maka-launch na po more modernized units sa other provinces of Davao. So, kaning mga 86 modernized units, nag-ooperate din sila sa 10 routes sa Davao del Sur. And one of the route is the Digo City to Bansalan via Kapatagan route. So, we all know that Kapatagan is one of the tourism destination or area in my hometown, in Digo City, Davao del Sur. Nakaadto na ba o Kapatagan ang tanan? Yes! Di ba na yung mga gwapong views dito, gwapo ang klima. So in order to further boost the tourism of that place, no, namin ipang-launch na mga modernized UVE sa maong ruta. So as of now, naatay mga 11 units na nag-operate dito. And if our tourists, if our visitors, kung hindi sila gusto magdala o private nila ng mga vehicles, they can, pwede sila masakay sa ito ang mga modernized UVEs. Because our modernized UVEs are comfortable, kay aircon, and more safe, knowing na ang Kapatagan is pataas ang terrain. So ang mga modernized vehicles nato ay mga safety features, and at the same time, environment friendly because at least Euro 4 ang gamit na engine. So mao na siya ang advantages kung masakay ka og modernized public utility vehicles or the modernized UVs, specifically if you want to visit the tourism spots, the resorts located in Kapatagan, Digo City, Davao del Sur. So, mao ni siya mga pictures during our launching. And so far, nagamit mga good feedback and good remarks na ma-receive from the commuters kay comfortable and safe na dyan daw ang pag-ato nila ang Kapatagan. And dili na nila need dyan magdala ng mga private vehicles if they want to visit the place. So, mao ni siya ang route including the tourism areas or tourism spots of the place. And Digo City Bansalan to Bansalan via Kapatagan route is under the local public transport route plan of the province of Davao del Sur. So Lami, we prepared a short clip lang showing to you the modernized units operating in Kapatagan and some of the areas and beautiful spots of the said place. So, pakiplay.
Oh my God. Oo, sana bahay ko. Hindi ko sila birthday greetings.
Ano sa ano rin na sounds? Hindi na mo siya tayo dito ba?
Oh, happy birthday hapon. Tapat na nun.
Yeah. Hindi ko ba ano?
Oo. Ito na lang, birds of feathers. Ano mo ba na?
Hindi ko Or happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday mo daw ka.
Sige, bigyan mo na ko yan.
Happy birthday na lang. Ang best friend man dito siya ako ano dito. Tugtog tong bird of feathers. Sa bukas, happy birthday.
So this is just a short clip of Kapatagan, Digos City, Malabas.
Si nagpapa ako sa speaker. Dahil sa tweet, nagtagal.
Ano mo rin dito? Abi, kato ka rin.
Ay, sa Instagram, manggod ako aba.
Hindi ko ganun sa Instagram mo. Wala kayo ko lang kato.
Ang katawan na, ay, ito eh. Lindot kayo mo ang ano, edit.
Ay, ganun yung... Mga din yung may
Birds of a
Ano
feather.
say ano na? Thoughts.
Ha?
Say thoughts.
Abot na siya sa best friend nga kuan.
Kanin. Kasi kanin na lang. Nilip ka.
Wala naman lyrics. Actually, uman ako nagito ang lyrics ko.
Wala pa na akong gapin yun ang lyrics. Nakapkat ang nila.
No, na pong lovers ko.
Pero okay naman. Ay na lang, magdadurok. Window ko. Ano na, happy birthday na lang. Ay,
Katy Perry.
ano say ano?
Dahil naputok ang nayon eh.
Ay na lang. Friend Korean. Pangit ko na ano niya. Kasi yun.
Kani mo na ko ah.
Ay, kanin na lang. Kanin na lang.
Maka na lang. Ikaw rin mo daw ang gigamit. Nayo. Pero malalip mo ito.
Kanin na lang. Kanin na lang.
Wala siya ng mute. Ay, sino?
Sige, so, di ba, nag-iba naman mo ganina na nakahanto na mo Kapatagan. So, unfortunately, natin yung mga technical difficulties. Pagkatula, nakita pa ninyo mga pictures sa modernized units ganina. So, naanap ko yung picture na katong mga units na to na mga modernized na anay ready to serve the community public if gusto sila mag-visit sa tourism destination in Kapatagan, Digos City, Davao del Sur. So that ends my report. Again, thank you sa University of Mindanao for inviting us, the LTFRB, and if you have any questions, we will